The first thing that comes to mind when someone says something like "this is the best entry ever made" is nostalgia to a degree. If you ask many people what their favorite game in a long-running franchise is, then you will get tons of mixed responses, and many are probably a bit biased in a pick thanks to their childhood or what games they first played in its series. I wanted to have a PlayStation 2 for Christmas, but instead my sister and me got a GameCube together with Double Dash. Shout out to the legendary €99 GameCube Double Dash bundle around that time. Sometimes a console flopping also brings some positive things with it. It's probably the reason why many of us got a GameCube, because you can't say no to it at that price. Starting the game and just having a jolly Christmas time with your family, playing Mario Kart without any worries. Obviously, something like this gives me those rose-tinted glasses that back in the day truly everything was better. Going from Mario Kart 64 that I always played at a friend's house to this made me think, damn, we just entered the next generation. Who could not fall in love with this game when you boot it up and hear this? I already miss Charles Martinet so much. Call me a boomer, a person stuck in the past, a hater or whatever you want, but Mario will never sound as fun again. So, why is it called Double Dash? Did you know the Double Dash subtitle of the game actually comes from the actual Double Dash? Not because you look like a dashing couple when you drive together in your kart? Something most people probably never even did, like me. If you and your partner both perfectly time the superstar at the beginning of a race, you actually get the legendary Double Dash. I wish I could show it to you myself, but I only have one working GameCube controller left. The others are sadly on the controller graveyard, thanks to them being from brands like Big Ben. Even Mad Catz controllers were probably better than these. What else could you expect from a product that's based on something from England after all? That also leads me to the thing that makes Double Dash Double Dash. You're together on a single card, and I have to be honest, I never quite liked that. I didn't understood how someone would want to be the second person on the card. I never saw the fun in it myself, and neither did my friends. Nobody wanted to team up to destroy another team because we all just wanted to play with ourselves, without being stuck on the back of the card and only being able to throw items. Maybe we were all just egoistical little shits and you have tons of stories how much fun you had while working together with your own friends. It's the perfect mode if you have a younger sibling that's still too stupid to really play video games, but not for much else. In a way, I think even Nintendo themselves realized that, so they never went back to it, since it's kinda an useless gimmick. I think if they added another twist to it, it could have had potential. As it stands, you just press a button to throw an item, that's it, and maybe do a super boost. And beg your partner to switch if you like it both ways. Imagine if you could actually steal the stuff you throw or pick a location for it. Being able to aim where you want the banana to be in a more precise way. It would have given the game a whole new tactical way to play it, and the second player would have had more fun too. So, what's the first thing you decide on in a kart racer? Which racist you pick? I always picked mine based on cuteness, mostly. And Yoshi is the cutest one in Double Dash, just like how he always would be if the next games wouldn't have added Rosalina. The characters you can pick from are fairly basic, but without Double Dash we wouldn't have Toadette since she was created here for Toad. Yeah, she may just be a pink Toad with twin tails, but she's still so unique somehow. I love playing her in Mario Maker 2. Funny how they allow you to play as her instead of someone like Peach. A simple little pink Toad, instead of the princess herself. You know, some people really do love mushrooms. Sadly, it also introduced the babies. They should not exist. I hate them so much and it started the filler character arc of Mario Kart to a degree. Everyone else here deserves their spot, but the babies? What did they do for this? Cry and shit themselves? Especially Baby Luigi did absolutely nothing. Baby Mario at least went on an adventure with Yoshi, but Luigi, he's a real nepo baby because he's only here because of his brother. Sadly, I can't put my full thoughts on these two into the video since it should still be a family friendly video. And my mom watches my videos and I don't want to be grounded. I always pick Yoshi and King Boo, because he's a king and as a kid you also always wanted to be a king or queen, right? I also just really love Boos. They're so cute and silly, nobody could ever hate them. You are a bad person if you do. If you hate them, you're even insulting the guy's wife they were based on. And nobody should get away with disrespecting someone else's wife. If you ever did that to mine, then let's not kid ourselves, I would never have one. They all also have their own special item that you can only get when you use them. Unless you pick King Boo and PT Piranha since they can get all of them. Except for Luigi's Fireballs and Birdo's Egg. Why does Mario's fire work or Yoshi's egg but not theirs? Not like it matters since it's the same, but still. Some already existed, like how the Koopas just got 3 green or red shells and no one else can have multiple of them. Then there's also completely new items like the big banana for DK and Diddy that explodes into smaller bananas when someone hits it. Bowser and his son get a giant Bowser shell, and I have to say, it's a cute idea too that makes you think about what character you want to play as, but it's not a total game changer, luckily. No one's item is that much stronger than the one from the others. So you're not forced to pick a specific character if you want to be a tryhard. I would even say that the Paratrooper has the strongest item with 3 red shells. It can just fuck you up badly. I know what you're thinking. You want to call me an idiot and tell me the strongest item is the one from the babies since it's the prototype of the bullet bill. But it's only strong if you suck. You can't get the chain chomp in first or second or even third place. What's the point if I can never use it? To this day I still sometimes hope it returns. It's just more fun that the chain chomp just goes crazy and wiggles you around instead of having the bullet bill just being on a totally set path. And the chain chomp also makes you not totally unbeatable. If you hit a banana or shell, you just lose it and it runs around for a bit, making the life of everyone harder. The controls themselves are a bit slippery at first, but that's also one of the reasons why I love it. It was the last Mario Kart that still felt different to control. Wii, 7, 8, they're all feeling the same to me, too perfect almost. Why change something if it's perfected? That's maybe why there's a bunch of people that will say this controls badly if they play this one for the first time after already having played the newer ones. And I also do blame emulators for that. Double Dash is one of those games that just has to be played with a GameCube controller. Those click-clack sounds when you press L and R to drift, it's just a completely different feeling than a PlayStation, Xbox or Switch controller. Obviously, you could use a GameCube controller on PC too, but how many people do that when they just quickly wanna emulate? Not too many. And even then, I don't think it's a case of bad controls, but a case of not being used to it. It's just harder to turn around edges or also sometimes even getting the cart back onto a straight line when you're not used to it. You want total control over your car, or else you drive a kid over, but it's not really needed in a video game. It's one of those little things where there is no right or wrong in a way, for me. Some people will prefer this, while others need the fine handling in Mario Kart 8. Just get used to it, that's my motto in life. Not everything will be made for you to enjoy it first. Some things will take a bit of time. One little thing I also love is that you can outdrift red shells, or even the blue shells sometimes. I could never really do it on purpose, but that's what kept it special in a way. You are about to insult the entire existence of these shells when you see they're incoming, but suddenly you drift around a corner and boom, you avoid it somehow. A total hype moment. Double Dash was also the game that introduced different cards for your character. Not everyone could use every card yet, but you can try out a bunch of them to see which one you like the most. Pick something that's fast but takes a bit of time to get fast, there you go. Wanna pick a good middle path with all stats? You can do that too. Wanna be slow but turn up the heat fast again whenever you get hit? Everything's possible here. Most of them also look really sick. You can even ride on Birdo. One of my friends really hates this card and never wants me to use it, but that just makes me want to use it even more. I'm that kind of person. The more people tell me not to do something, the more I will do it. I sound like an asshole if I say it like this. I swear I'm not and only do it in a funny way, most of the time. Please trust me. What else comes after the racers? Yep, the tracks they race on. Maybe the most important part of an arcade racer. Your cards and characters can feel super duper fun to use, but what's the point if there's nothing fun to drive on or over? 16 tracks full of fun and almost every track has one or two things that makes it stand out for me. Even if it's just little details, like being able to see Daisy's boat in the background of Peach Beach. Many maps have little references to the other tracks in the game, and that's what I love about this game. They don't just feel like a track in the middle of nowhere, but they make sense in their world. And they are all just so colorful, and I still think from an art style perspective, it's still the best looking one. It is a tradition in Mario Kart that the first track has to be boring. Some traditions have to be followed to death, even if they're bad, like us Germans eating warm meat on buns for breakfast. Trust me, if you ever visit Germany, you need to eat a Mettbrötchen. There's not a single circuit track in any of the games that can't be not described as boring. You got cute little tracks on the left and right here, it's pretty fun to drift in the corners, and it's a two-way racetrack kinda, where you can see people coming towards you to make it a bit more chaotic, but it's still just so basic. It's cute that you can see Luigi's Mansion though. You gotta love Peach Beach just for the name alone. Even Kojima loved it so much that he referenced it in Death Stranding after all. It's again nothing special except that I love the whole vibe of it. I don't know about you, but as a kid I never really enjoyed going to the beach. Maybe thanks to Germany having pretty bad beaches, but nowadays as an adult, I would love to just lay down and have all my worries be gone for a bit. Hopefully without catacrucks who throw you up. Not in that way. Could be worse though, at least they're not chucksters. It also has this funny little shortcut that isn't a shortcut at all. But hey, it gives you a double item box. It's worth going for in the first round at least, because it will give you fun items to use since you're gonna be in a bag somewhere, so you can snag up a star or your special item. Like I mentioned earlier, you can also see how rich Daisy is. Why does she need a whole cruise ship? Baby park. I am sad how in every version of it they just made it worse. I get that they cut out the roller coaster that was going through the stage because of technical limitations or something, even though I'm sure the DS could have handled it. They brought it back in Mario Kart 8, but you can't get hit by it. And also they put fences here into the middle so you can't shoot items all over the place. It's still chaotic as hell at points, but the double dash version is still just the best one. You either hate or love it, there's no in between. Or have you ever met someone who goes, it's an okay track? No, you haven't. Even if you have. Personally, I love it, because I have a profound appreciation for everything in life. What's the point of hate if you can love instead? Like, have you ever heard me hate something? Surely not. Dwight White Desert is a map that just kinda exists. It's not super duper great, but it's also not trashy trash. One of those tracks you just don't mind, especially if you're a fan of quicksand. Whenever I hear quicksand nowadays, I have to think about this tweet by Toby Fox. Poor Sakura, I sure hope she escaped that quicksand. And then there was also this one guy on YouTube who kept making animations of anime girls getting sucked into quicksand. You know what they say, everything is a fetish to some people. Let's be honest, you are a pussy if you don't drive on a bridge. I admit it, sometimes I'm a pussy too. For me it's also one of those tracks that made me think up my own stories as a kid, and I always wanted to live here. Did you know Mario makes some mad cash on its side as a real estate agent? I wonder if he makes a good landlord or kicks you out the second you can't pay the rent. I hope the rent is fairly low though, having these houses being so close to a busy road without any kind of noise protection. In the distance you can even see the Castle of Peach or Mushroom City. It's also home to the most useless shortcut in the game. You have to drive this whole way just to get spat out of a pipe for a double item box, without saving any time really. It feels like they included this one just for the swag. If you take it, then you're cooler than the rest who didn't. Mario Circuit is still not beating the allegations of these kind of tracks being boring. Feels like a worse version of Royal Raceway for Mario Kart 64 because it's built around Peach's castle too. Why not call it Peach's Circuit then? You're not even allowed to get close to the castle. Lame. It's still fun to drive around the track, but it's just whatever. You can drive over Goombas though, so that's pretty cool. I wish, if you hit them, you're actually the one getting fucked. What did they feed to these Goombas? How do they explode into a bloody mess when Mario jumps onto them, but they can stop a cart at high speed? Daisy's Cruiser is cool just because you're on a boat. It's such a cute idea for a track and it's also fun to drive. Go around the pool, or maybe even the other side of the pool, which just makes you think, why is this possible? Because it's cool, that's why. The dining hall and its chairs and tables moving around like crazy, which doesn't really speak for it. Sure, most boats will sway around, but don't they normally nowadays screw this stuff down? Pretty dangerous if someone just wants to go on a nice vacation. You're also allowed to pick your path, go down or up. If you go down you get another double item box and it's kinda slower in the upper way, but not by much. This game really loved its long cuts, instead of shortcuts. Sorry to say, but Wario Stadium in Mario Kart 64 was trash. Way too long, way too big and way too empty. To make up for that, they created Waluigi Stadium. It makes you feel you're taking part in an actual dirt bike race. Lots of mud, lots of tight corners, giant piranha plants, cutouts, fire everywhere, it's maximum extremeness. Also one of the maps that kinda got worse in Mario Kart 8 because they made it more wide since you got more players. Normally I like it when things are wider, like hips, but it makes it just feel less fun in Mario Kart 8. Chapel Land is one of those good field tracks for me. I know it's not the best of the best, but I just have that comfy attachment to it. The music of it is just one of those that immediately throws you back in time, making you remember how much fun you had playing this back in the day. I'm also a big fan of Shy Guys since I'm one of them myself because I wear a mask to hide my true self at all times, and they're ice skating here. Ice skating Shy Guys. The corners are also perfectly driftable and I love how colorful the logo of the track is. Most other tracks have one single color in theirs, but here, no, we just picked a whole bunch of them. Even the hills have eyes. Double Dash is full of clouds, trees and everything having eyes and noses, but I never noticed these when playing the game normally. I get a whole mountain or walk having them, but this one has multiple. Do they all share the same brain? Mario really got the deepest lore at times. Mushroom City is just great. You can pick your own lane, the shortcut is pretty fun to use and it just has the right amount of cars driving around. Not too many but also not too few. Playing at night is also a big plus because the houses have the lights on, which gives it that perfect night drive atmosphere. It makes you feel like a real human being, driving down the highway at night with some of your favorite music. It only gets bested by Moonview Highway from Mario Kart Wii, but imagine if Mushroom City never existed. Would Moonview Highway exist then? Surely not, so you helped to create one of the best tracks ever, while also being one of the best. Maybe I'm just a really big fan of the city maps. You can even see the Mushroom Bridge from here. Finding these little details as a kid just made me think, wow, this is the best thing ever. It made you look at the tracks even more to try to find everything. You know what? Everything I said about circuit tracks has been a lie. Yoshi's circuit is the circuit to destroy the circuit and negations. I really hate that word somehow. It looks like you should say circuit, but it's pronounced circuit. Why? I hate English. Why can't we all just speak German? You know what makes this one so great? I'm about to blow your mind. Did you know that Yoshi's circuit is a track that is built like a Yoshi? I bet you didn't know. It's fine if you didn't. It's also home to the best shortcut in the franchise for me. Use a mushroom here and boom. It takes a bit of training to get it, and that's what makes it fun. I would not forgive Nintendo for removing it. I don't care if the new physics of Mario Kart 8 makes it impossible to get it or whatever, just bring it back. Followed by maybe the most popular track from Double Dash, DK Mountain. You can't hate a track when you get shot through a cannon on it. Don't try this at home. Bouncing on the rocky part and then drifting around the jungle again, even being able to kinda shortcut it without a mushroom here. I suck so hard at it nowadays, but in my prime I could drive like a god. Getting old will happen to all of us. It sucks being 67 years old, but what can you do? Wario Colosseum is basically Nintendo going again, yeah, we know we fucked up with Warum Stadium and gave him a more fun track, and even only make it 2 laps this time because of the size. It's still not really the best because it feels a bit boring with its design, but it has cool merry-go-round sections where you can drift through or jump over the abyss. I don't think I ever saw the AI going through the middle. Why? Are they too afraid even though this jump is almost impossible to fuck up? Dino Jungle, my beloved. The dream of every young boy like me back then. Dinosaurs. Do I have to say more? Who did not love dinosaurs as a kid? And as an adult, please tell me your favorite dinosaur in the comments if you want to. Mine's the Spinosaurus. I wish I had a cool spine like that. Normally I would say the T-Rex, but that's too much of a popular pick. It's just such a cool track. Having to drive past the Brachiosaurus and having to avoid his feet, while later you have to avoid his friendly looking face or else he will knock you off. Driving over the road, and there's also geysers that throw you up into the air, all while looking so colorful and fun. Bowser's castle is somewhat dangerous, but it always lacked something from me and I can't really put it into words why. You have worms trying to crush you, fire trying to burn your ass, a giant Bowser statue shooting already big fireballs at you, but despite all of that, it never made me feel like damn, what an exciting track. We all have a track like that, right? A track that you see the appeal of, but it just doesn't really ignite anything inside of you. Best Rainbow Road theme ever. Unbeatable. It's what I would expect a track that plays on a Star Wars to sound like. Happy, upbeat, but somehow also has a somewhat sad longing feel to it. It is a road that you go when you die, after all. For me it has the perfect difficulty as the final track. It just feels so tight. One wrong drift and you're off, especially in the boost section. Sometimes a star can even fall onto the track and turn into the power up so you can use it. Feels nice to get a star even if you're in first. Sadly it didn't happen while I was playing, but it happened to the AI here. Just so they could fall right off. To be fair, I really hate boosting items on this map too. I'm way too scared to use my mushroom except for on a straight line. Only because I'm so rusty though. In my prime double dash time, I could have became the world's best speedrunner in it. Surely. Totally. Don't bring me to the retirement home yet. Still, please. It's a bit weird how you can see Mushroom City if you look down, but you can see it when you look up from Mushroom City. Maybe it only shows up on Sundays and the race in Mushroom City takes place on a Saturday, I don't know. They didn't need it to show the whole track up there, but a little nod to it would have been cute. And Double Dash is also the home of the best battle mode in the franchise. Yes, Block City is sadly worse than Block Fort, but Mario Kart 64 didn't have you battle on the console itself, unlike here. I mean, it's not a great map, but it's a GameCube. You're battling your friends on a GameCube. It's so stupid that it becomes great again. I could talk hours about how much fun I had with it with friends, since the modes are great, the maps are great, friends are great. Everyone who has played the game knows it. Hiding away with the shine in the top floor of Luigi's mansion and your friend's screen watching you to see where you are. The ultimate chaos mode with Bob on Blast in such tiny maps is just great. They brought that mode back in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but it has the same problem as Wario Stadium. The maps are too big to really make you feel the chaos. Here they're mostly tiny except for Luigi's Mansion, which means you will blow up, and blow up, and blow up. The only thing I could really criticize this for is the single player aspect. There's not really that much to do except the Grand Prix and, well, time trials, that's it. But it's basically every single Mario Kart with the exception of Mario Kart DS because you had the missions. But I do not like that you sometimes have to play something that's more boring to unlock certain things. To unlock to that you have to win the 100cc Special Cup, but you can just play it on 150cc because it's more fun, but it won't give you to that. You really have to do 100cc instead of 150. Why do I have to do that? It's less fun. So in the end, it's a bit of nostalgia, but the other reason is that it also felt like the last time Mario Kart felt a bit different. I'm also a super duper big fan of Mario Kart Wii, and it's probably the one I played the most since I even played it in a Wii clan. I miss you, Nintendo All-Star Gamers. But it started the trend of adding little things that don't really make it too different in a way. Yes, bikes were new and changed the way it was played, but also not really. I loved them, but it wasn't something that made you feel like, wow, amazing, it's a completely new experience. 7 and 8 added flying, underwater and anti-gravity, and they are barely noticeable changes really. And they all just pretty much play the same. Maybe the new Mario Kart can change it, but I can adopt it. It doesn't have to. Nintendo basically perfected Mario Kart, and I don't think they want to change it to risk the sales. I know, you want to call me a boomer, and that's fine. I appreciate all Mario Kart games, so if one of the others is your favorite, then I totally understand that, except for 64. I never had my own Nintendo 64, so I always just played it at a friend's house, and it was fun. Till we once played Crash Team Racing because he had a PS1 that could play burnt discs, and he hated it while I loved it, but he only ever wanted to play Mario Kart 64 instead, while I sometimes would beg him if he could play Crash instead again. To which he never said yes. Maybe that's why I have such a grudge against it. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video and would have a good day, a good night or whatever fits your time zone. I will now get to work on a Mario Kart 9 or 10 or whatever you want to call it video, where I look through the 10 seconds of footage we got from it and stretch it to a 3-hour video. I actually won't. Bye bye.